Hi guys. So I've got some lines I created here in Illustrator on the iPad, and I want to show you a cool trick. So again, I'm working with the selection tool up here, and if I click on this first image, again, this dialog box down at the bottom pops up. Here's where I want to show you this. Let's say I wanted to make a copy of this line. It's the most amazing line in the world, and I want to make a copy. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'll show you the hard way first, and then I'll show you an easy way. The hard way, which is not that hard, is you click right here, and it says duplicated. And then if I come down here while dragging it down, it does that. So let me do that again with this one. Boop, duplicated, and then I drag it down. Not that hard to do. Personally, what I like to do though is use my shortcut tool over here. And if you notice that there's an inner ring, and then if I slide my finger or this mouse or this the stylus, you can see there's an outer ring. So you're going to slide your finger to the outer ring. I'm right-handed, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to click and drag, and then boom, done. See how easy that is? And if you're like me, let me show you, and you are like, well, why do them all one at a time? Watch this. Grab them all, right? And grab that, and then bring them down, and you've got the whole thing copied all at once. Save yourself some time. Okay, now why did I do this? Because I wanted to show you some things you could do. First of all, if I zoom in by taking my two fingers and pointing this in, you notice that all the lines have the same kind of property. They all kind of start and stop the same way and come to different points. You can change these properties. Check this out. Over here on the side, if I click the properties menu, okay, and I come down to stroke, you can see down here at the bottom with stroke, for a line ending, let's say I wanted my line to kind of be curved at the end. Watch this. Click, and now it's curved. Okay, not just there, but anywhere on the line. So, whoops, let me see down here. It's also curved on this side. Okay, right? Whereas obviously, if you see it next to these, it's very, very different. So that's something you can do. Other properties you can change when you have these corners like this. You can change the nature of a corner. So you can see that right now I have it so that it's resting like this. But watch what happens. I can click here and you can see the corner change. And if I do this, I get a very different type of corner. This might not be so important right now, but later on you might be like, wow, that's really cool. Also, the last one is, and I haven't really explained this yet, but you can see that there's this little line in the middle. What is that, right? Well, that's the path that the line is on. And let's say that for some reason I wanted the path to be resting in a different spot. Sometimes this matters. Oops. I can also change the opacity of the line. But let me scroll down again. If I click here, if you notice it changes it so that it kind of stops before the ending of the line. I personally prefer having more control and having it go up there, but it really depends. This also will change things like where the path rests, but I wanted to show you that to you. So what I'd like you to do here is, in addition to changing that kind of thing with the properties menu, so again, properties are over here, you can also start playing around, I love this, if I double click on something, with the anchor points. And I can spend an entire week talking about anchor points, but just to explain to you, by zooming in, these little dots right here are anchor points. And if I clicked on one, that's now activated. So I can kind of wiggle it around. Okay, if I want to activate a different one, I click on it. So you can see it's now solid and the other ones are hollow. Again, so I make it solid and I can wiggle it around. You can also pull at the handles and it changes how much of the curve there is, as well as the actual physical anchor point. You can even delete that and kind of delete the segment, or if I wanted to, I could just get rid of that anchor point entirely. And it just straightens out the line and just makes it a little bit simpler. So there's all kinds of different things you can do, but here's what I'd like you to do. For each of these lines, mess around with it and see what you can do to kind of modify it. So again, double click and you get the anchor points, right? And kind of just give them, you know, a little bit of a wiggle. And this is the kind of thing where just the more you do it, the more used to this you're going to get. And again, weird stuff that's happening here, like why is this one doing this weird thing down here? I will explain that later, but just to go over it, there's only a handle on one side, so the curve is only being controlled by a handle on one side. There's no handle on the side, so there's no curve. I will explain this later. But for each of these lines, modify it somehow. So in this particular case, maybe because I don't have any anchor points, I'm just going to do that. Or, oh, I got an idea. I can add an anchor point. No, that's duplicating it. That's not what I want. Never mind. I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, but modify each of these lines in some way by double clicking and messing around with these awesome anchor points. Have fun.